Ivan Toney, banned for 8 months. He is a really good player.
Yeah.
Don't think he's a top 5 left back in the league.
Did we not say he was? I pledge allegiance to the flag.
I mean, they got Curtis Jones scoring.
Curtis Jones is cooking it.
I don't think he's a terrible left back, but
His country is at war.
I don't think Kieran Tierney
So
is that good
forgive
either.
my guy for being a little bit emotional.
Hello guys, welcome back to BoreDraw, episode number 46. And our whole structure to this episode has been thrown off by news that dropped no longer than about 10 minutes ago. Ivan Toney banned for 8 months. Ivan Toney, Brentford star, man. He's got his first England call up this season, but he couldn't stay away from Bet365.
He's like me. Gambling is no joke. It suckers you in, mate.
Yeah, please gamble responsibly.
But big episode up ahead where we talk about the ins and outs of Brentford with and without Ivan Toney. What that means for him as a Brentford player, what that means for him as potentially moving on.
What it means for England.
For England.
I mean, that's also a big transfer target for a lot of clubs already taken off the market. We've got a lot of movement with Thomas Frank, rumours sprouting for him maybe moving potentially towards Tottenham. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting. We'll also be discussing Arsenal. Disappointing result against Brighton. Sort of what this means for them going forward. Obviously, the title is all but Man City's again. But what do Arsenal need to do over the summer to sort of make sure they don't fall behind and actually bridge the gap towards City? Because we've seen teams like Liverpool trying to do it, and it hasn't worked. So, before the episode begins, make sure you subscribe. We're coming at you.
Do it. Subscribe.
Ivan Toney, talk to me.
What was it? I think it was like 200 and something counts of gambling or like football-related gambling.
So,
it's crazy.
Previous people who've been done for this sort of thing, we've had Joe Barton.
Yeah.
And he was it a 2-year ban, and he served like the second year in Marseille
in France. Yeah.
And then you had Trippier, didn't he get done?
I think so.
But they were minor accounts. My guy Ivan Toney, 4 million counts of I don't even know. But it's not. I would like to know what he's betting on.
Yeah, I want to know like kind of his profit loss.
I would think that if you're betting on your own games, that's like a indefinite ban.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, exactly that. If you like bet on like the Guatemalan league, then fucking fairs to you, you've got a problem, but you're not harming anyone. But yeah, if you're betting on Ivan Toney to get a yellow card and you are Ivan Toney, probably a little bit sticky.
Yeah, it's weird, but obviously we'll never be privy to that information, I don't think. But we can look at it in a broader aspect. What does this mean for Brentford? Obviously, Brentford had a really, really good season, building on their success from last season, and they've looked like a proper Premier League outfit, as much as I hate to say it. They've run really well.
Yeah, top half secured now. That's their kind of...
That's your bread and butter, mate.
For a team that came up, 2 seasons ago, to be now pretty much a certy top halfer, that's probably the best kind of promoted to Premier League established time span I can remember in a hot minute. Can't remember many teams that have... Was this Brentford's first time ever in the Premier League?
Yeah, it's their first time. I mean, Sheffield United did quite well a few seasons ago with Chris Wilder, didn't they?
Yeah, and then but they didn't
build on that.
Second season syndrome, whereas Brentford, been here a couple of seasons now, and they only look like they're getting better. And for a team that has just come up for the first time, it's good going.
It is very good going.
But is that all about to fall apart in front of our eyes?
Their promotion season, Ivan Toney broke the Championship goal scoring record, later broken by one Alexander Mitrovic. But he was their talismanic player. He was their star striker. He did tear out the Championship. He came into the Premier League. He had a decent first season, and he's absolutely smashed it this season, even with the looming threat of a ban overhead. It's strange because he didn't play last weekend, or this weekend just gone. It was Vissa and Mbermo making up the front two. It is going to be difficult for Brentford, because so for the next 8 months, I don't know, is it 8 months from the beginning of the next season?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't really work it out. I think it's from now, because he misses the Man City game coming up. And so it's 8 months of no football-related activities. Don't know what that means. Does that mean he go to the stadium? Probably not. But 8 months from now, so he misses 2 games of this season. And then he got, 2 months of the summer that he wouldn't be playing anyway.
He's going to be out until,
So he's going to be out until maybe just after Christmas.
Yeah.
And, in the grand scheme of things, that's, pretty shocking for Brentford, because by Christmas, the table starts to
form.
To
sort
form.
of have your relegation candidates,
you know where
you have your top halfers.
You're battling. And so to not have Ivan Toney for the rest of this season, even though their season's pretty much done, and then the start of next season, I think that puts Brentford at a disadvantage from the start, obviously.
It makes their summer a lot more interesting. So I don't know the ins and out of the ban, but maybe he can go play abroad. Maybe they loan him out for the season. Maybe they sell him off to a foreign club. I don't know if he can play abroad. It might just be an FA ruling. I don't know whether they have jurisdiction.
No idea.
Yeah, so there'll probably be technicalities to it that we're not privy to. But
I'm liking the word privy.
Oh, bro, I pulled that out twice. I don't think I've said that in
years. My guy.
We don't have that knowledge.
Not privy to the word privy.
But yeah, so for me, I thought he was going to be a pretty heavy transfer target for a lot of teams.
Yeah, Thomas Frank saying he had 100 million valuation, which is a bit crazy, but I guess it's one of those things, to Brentford, he is probably worth about 100 million.
That is the argument that's going around everywhere now, isn't it? It's like Declan Rice, what's he worth? Well, he's worth that to West Ham, so that's what he's worth. And it's like, okay.
Nah, shut up.
But realistically,
I
agree with that evaluation, but you're never going to get 100 million for Ivan Toney.
And
but yeah, it makes their summer way more interesting.
It does.
He's not going to be as valuable a prospect if he can even be sold. They're going to need some recruitment up top.
Yeah, so they signed Kevin Sharder, I think, in January, and he's been playing a couple of games, but obviously hasn't got the kind of impact that Ivan Toney has. And then it's kind of a case of, do they buy someone that is going to be their first choice and kind of settle for the fact that when Toney comes back at Christmas time or whatever it is, they sell him in the January window straight away?
I think maybe... Well, it's going to be strange, because are they going to... like you say, are they going to just go with what they have? Or maybe they bring in someone like... I was going to say Victor Gyökeres from the Coventry striker. He's on loan from Brighton. He's had a really impressive season in the Championship.
Yeah.
He's semi-like Ivan Toney. That could be an interesting shout. Or do they go for, I don't know, Wout Weghorst, something like that, maybe?
Bloody not Wout Weghorst. But... yeah, it's interesting, especially because, like we were saying, there are teams that were sniffing around Ivan Toney, Man United, Chelsea, even Arsenal were looking at him. And it's now those teams, what do? Do they try and buy him at a cut price, knowing that Brentford can't play him and they're probably looking to, I don't know, do something with him? It's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic.
We'll know more in the coming days, probably when Thomas Frank has his press conference or Brentford release a statement. Or
Yeah.
I mean, the ins and outs will be found out. You'll have journalists who'll find out for you. But until then, this literally only happened about 20 minutes ago or half hour ago. So we're still pretty much
not privy to the information.
We are not privy to the information.
Nah, it's interesting because, like we were saying about Thomas Frank, he's been linked to Tottenham, and I tweeted this from the BoreDraw account that if he did get the Tottenham job, I don't know if he's favourite for the Tottenham job. I think there's a couple of people in
Rodgers
discussion.
Is up there, really?
Who's the current Feyenoord manager?
Ernest Lott.
Yeah, Ernest Lott.
Ernest Lott.
And so there's a couple of people in discussion. But I like the idea of Thomas Frank going there. And then if they were to lose Harry Kane for 100 mil, they could use that 100 mil, not necessarily pay 100 million for Ivan Toney, although Thomas Frank has shot himself in the foot by saying that he's worth 100 million. And then if Thomas Frank was to leave and try and buy Ivan Toney, he'd have to pay 100 million. But say they sell Harry Kane and then with 75% of the money, buy Ivan Toney, and they've got Thomas Frank. That's good moves from Tottenham. So it's interesting to see what happens with Brentford this summer in terms of their business, in terms of Ivan Toney's business, in terms of Tom and Frank's business.
The ripple effect.
But the real ripple effect. Not kind of made up ripples that aren't really accurate.
That don't actually do anything. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Let us know down below. What do you think is going to happen with Ivan Toney?
Let us
will
know
he
the
stay
ripple
or will
effect
he go?
of what happens to Ivan Toney and his band.
If he stays, it will be trouble.
If he leaves, it could be double.
Yeah.
Come on.
Not 200 million though. All right, moving on to trouble. Arsenal.
Trouble in paradise.
You were away. All I've seen on my social media recently is just montages of Arsenal fans, Arsenal fan TV.
Gary Neville beefing all the Arsenal fan TVs.
Yeah, he got carried away a bit, and it's easy to say that now, but you've got to be involved in the fun when you're up there. You've got to enjoy your time in the sun.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, if you don't celebrate out of fear of it going wrong, then what's the point of being on the journey?
At least you had a few months of bliss.
It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. That's what they say.
But yeah, so Arsenal's title hopes all but dashed at
I loved them and I lost them.
At the hands of an emphatic De Zerbi's Brighton.
They're so good, man.
They put you to the sword. They never really looked too stretched.
Yeah.
Stupinan, I think, is an outrageous player.
A good little fantasy option as well.
I did have him on my team.
Same.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
And he's still
Moises Caicedo,
Moises Caicedo's different.
He for me might be the best in the league.
He's one of the best players in the league. Not even like fucking DM, or he was playing right back pretty much this game.
It was a structured pulling apart of the Arsenal system.
I know you want to talk about Arsenal, and we'll talk about Arsenal, but I have a question for you before we dive into Arsenal. And it's kind of, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. But who do you think would be a better squad going forward and more kind of trouble to shout out Rory Jennings? Who would be a more problem to the establishment? Eddie Howe and his Newcastle team, or De Zerbi and his Brighton team, if Brighton don't get picked apart this summer, which they almost certainly are. De Zerbi came out in the press conference after the Arsenal game and said McAllister's gone this summer, Caicedo's gone this summer. So more chance is they'll be picked apart, and they've got a good track record of recruiting very well, but obviously that is...
You're not going to hit a gem every time.
You can't predict that.
My answer to the question is probably Newcastle. Newcastle have the funding behind them. I think I don't want to say it like this, set up better for success, but Newcastle are a bigger club with a bigger history, with a better stadium, with like really, really passionate fans. And obviously they've got some money now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that their success is because of the money, but they've done very well in terms of their recruitment. Their appointment of Eddie Howe has worked out phenomenal. They signed up players like Bruno Guimaraes, Alexander Isak, Sven Botman, Nick Pope, like Kieran Trippier, all these brilliant players. Newcastle were doing it really well. Maybe it gets overlooked because of how the background of the money noise, basically, that is overriding the success of what Newcastle have actually done for the amount of money they spent. So yeah, for me, it is going to be Newcastle.
I'm going to say Brighton.
But Brighton I think people are more willing to accept Newcastle as a bigger club than Brighton. Brighton are like, and I don't think it will ever last. Like, the Big Six is the Big Six for a reason. They will always be there or thereabouts. And you might have these seasons where things happen, but for the most part, the Big Six is the Big Six, and there's a reason for that. They earn the most money. They have the best backing. They have like the most fans in the UK and the world. So there's a reason for that. I think Brighton's success will last, but for how long, I don't know.
I totally agree. I think Brighton, for me, I think right now they're a bigger problem to the Big Six than Newcastle.
I think if you're playing a game versus game,
but
like
that comes with the hindsight that, or not with the hindsight, with the caveat that Brighton will get picked apart. Like you said, they're not as big a club as Newcastle, and then definitely not as big a club as the top six. But I think De Zerbi's a quality manager.
I think De Zerbi is a top manager.
Better than Eddie Howe.
Maybe only Gary O'Neill better than him.
Maybe. And so I think that comes with the territory, doesn't it? That someone will come in and get De Zerbi. Maybe, I don't know, Ten Hag will get sacked at United and United get De Zerbi. Or maybe...
Arteta gets sacked by Arsenal.
Maybe. Or bloody, I don't know.
Klopp or Pep leave.
Exactly. So it's one of those where Brighton will lose their assets quicker than Newcastle and therefore won't be as big of a challenge. But if they manage to retain their assets and their manager...
In some world where they're immune to transfer...
Yeah, if
windows,
there's a big transfer cull and no one can do anything, I think Brighton, they're looking good. Their squad is young, hungry, developing well under De Zerbi. They're making smart signings. They signed that Dahoud on a free transfer from Dortmund. Yao Pedro from Watford. James Milner, he's a young, undiscovered gem.
Yeah, that James, I've heard a lot about him.
Bowler!
Yeah.
Football manager regen, mate. But, yeah, I think Brighton, quality side. And I wasn't even surprised that we got pumped by them. I think we've just run out of legs this season. And Brighton are this team that they've got too many legs.
Yeah, it's just when I was watching it,
Energy
it just felt like
days.
they had extra players on the pitch.
Energy for days.
They had extra players on the pitch. Their players always made the right pass. They were always in the right position.
Yeah.
And the system was so well set up, and that was a result of it, that Arsenal were suffocated. They couldn't do anything. It felt like every Brighton player was first to every loose ball. It felt like they wanted it more. It looked like the Brighton players were stronger.
When I lose a duel, I'm upset. That's Arteta.
You're like Mexican, man.
Kind of Latino, man.
But yeah, it was interesting. And yeah, Brighton players just looked physically stronger than Arsenal players. And I don't know whether it's Arsenal will have an effect going into next season, because as much as it's really, 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 it's underwhelming to say that it's a fall from grace, because what they achieved was amazing. Like, few teams have ever pushed City this far. But like Liverpool, they literally lost the
league last day of the season.
Like the last 20 minutes, there was that 3-1 game versus Aston Villa, wasn't it, for City? Mm-hmm. We thought Stevie G was going to do it for Liverpool, but look at them this season. And if I'm Arsenal now, and I think it's been a topic of conversation, it's gone around on the internet up for a while now, or recently even, that's the word. Arsenal got to be looking over their shoulders, perhaps, maybe not looking ahead, but the mentality has to be look ahead.
I think so. And that comes with new players in and out, and a big summer ahead for Arsenal. Arteta, I think this is the first game in a long time that I've seen him come out after the game and call out the players.
He always protects them.
Yeah, he's normally one. You see it in the All or Nothing. You see it in interviews where he's like, that's between me and the players. I'll always protect the players. Blah, blah, blah. But this game, he said, we can't capitulate like that. If you can't handle the heat, pretty much, he said, get out of the kitchen. So I think he's kind of got to a stage now where... And he's always been a bit of a winner. Obviously got that mentality instilled in him from Pep Guardiola. And so he's kind of got to a stage now where twice he's pushed his team close to achieving something more than anyone expected from them and him. Like last season, nobody expected us to get Champions League. And we were pushing for Champions League the whole season. And then the team bottled it, if you want to call it bottled it, last few games. And this season, nobody predicted us to get Champions League again. And then if they did, no one predicted us to battle for the league. And for us to bottle it again towards the end, I think he's got to a stage now where maybe he's a bit frustrated at some of the players and their kind of incapability to go that
over the line.
Yeah, get that final few yards done.
Potentially. Come back after the break and we will be discussing Arsenal summer, what they need to do. Can they bridge the gap to City, or do they need to be looking behind over their shoulder at Liverpool and Salah bombing down the wing?
Salah's got more goals and assists than Rashford this year, and Rashford's in team of the season. And
I think he's nearly got as many assists as How many? I think is Saka like 3 ahead of him.
Yeah, I think Saka's only like 1 ahead.
Salah's had a good season as well.
Salah's had a very good season.
Poor by his standards, but still
Pretty much the second best right winger in the league behind Saka.
Come back after the break. Well, we are nearing the end of the season, and as with every season, you've pretty much got the lay of the table, apart from at the very bottom, at the very top. Arsenal, they've got Champions League football for the first time in a very long time, and that's going to allow them to spend a little cash in the summer. I've seen rumours that he's allowed to blow the transfer records, and he's got £200 million war chest to spend.
News articles like that turn me on. Whenever I see Arsenal can spend 200 million, I'm like, yes, please.
And I mean, look at the players you have signed recently and how well they've done for you. Like the likes of Odegaard, the value you got him for, it looks immense.
Oh yeah, so we brought him for 30, and I think his transfer market value now is like 89 million.
And
crazy.
So like you put in Gabriel Jesus, you put in Zinchenko over the summer, who pushed you to that next level.
Yes.
Thomas Partey's turned to be like an amazing defensive midfielder. You've got the likes of Tomiyasu, who's even come and done well. Aaron Ramsdale, probably been one of the best keepers in the league.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've made a transfer that's stunk up the gaff.
Yeah,
which used to be kind of
every transfer
religion for Arsenal.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And you're going to be a more attractive prospect now. You've got the Champions League football to back it up.
Yeah,
I've seen rumours, and it's not even a rumour. It's just people associating news with what could be. João Cancelo, he will not be staying at Bayern Munich. Neither will Sadio Mane.
They will not. No, both coming back.
We know how last summer Man City and Arsenal had a relationship where Man City off players and Arsenal picked them up.
When you're offing good players,
no, I agree.
Teams are going to come around and be like, "Yes, please."
João Cancelo, for a very extended period of time, was
the best fullback in the world.
Probably the best fullback in the world. And wherever Arsenal sort of had issues this season, have been the defensive line. Saliba and Tomiyasu have been injured, and suddenly your defence has fallen apart. Yes. You went from conceding like 0.8 goals per game to like 1.8 or something. Like
I think
some ridiculous
we've conceded
stat.
like 40 goals pretty much since Saliba's been out or something like that. It's crazy.
Ben White has been exceptional this season. Really, really good. I think he would do a fantastic job at centre-back, again, in his natural role. You have João Cancelo on the market. If you can get him for a cut price, I think you've got one of the best right-backs in the world. He's worked with Arteta before.
Yeah. I don't think the overlap was crazy long.
It wasn't crazy long, but
still.
And it's a system. Like, we've seen Arsenal play, we've seen Man City play, we've seen Pep's. I think Arsenal's current style is more reminiscent of like a previous Man City, but obviously Man City have had to change and adapt because of the likes of Erling Haaland coming in.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I think you'd thrive very well in Arteta system. I think that could be an unbelievable signing for you. And I think you'd be very excited as an Arsenal fan.
I bloody love Cancelo. A lot of people saying that Arsenal's backline would get torn apart. Obviously, you'd never, ever play Cancelo and Zinchenko in the same defensive line. You'd play one or the other.
I don't know though.
And
like, what if you had a system where you had like you had Zinchenko, you had Saliba, Ben White, or Gabriel, and then you had João Cancelo on the right, yeah. And then you had when you went up to you had possession. No, you have possession, right? You have like Gabriel and Saliba split. Partey drops in. You have like 3 at the back, that narrow 3.
Or instead of Partey dropping in, big boy Decky Rice played at centre back, coming up through the ranks. Is now probably one of the best CDMs in the world, and he's looking to leave West Ham. He's done his time there. And I think they're probably looking to cash in.
I thought so. He was always been linked with Chelsea just because of his friendship with Mason Mount. Is he a Chelsea fan as well?
I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure.
I think he's a West Ham fan.
Mount seems to be on his way out of Chelsea. Yeah. I think he's rejected a new contract. And so, yeah, Declan Rice, he could be going anywhere. Man United have been linked with him. Chelsea have been linked with him. Arsenal have been linked with him. I haven't seen him. Has he been linked to Liverpool?
I don't think so.
But yeah, he's going to be an interesting one to try.
I think he is, as far as the links, we've had a few links, a range of different players, but for me, he's the one that I think is definitely going to happen and pretty early into the summer.
When there was like the Jack Grealish saga?
Mate, did you see the fucking Photoshop?
Like holding up.
It's mad. The Photoshop is so good.
I didn't know it was a Photoshop.
It had my ankles so hard.
Because it's like a Snapchat and the guy's like, oh,
Yeah.
put a perks of the job.
It's crazy good. And I was like, nah, that's crazy. But yeah, Declan Rice, I think that's happening. Last time we played West Ham, they had Mikel Arteta and Declan Rice had a little one-on-one. And then Odegaard and Declan Rice had a little one-on-one after the match. And I think he would just fit into the role so well.
Like, Hendo and Trent basically done everything short but make love to Jude Bellingham, and he's on his way to Madrid. But that's because Liverpool not want to meet the valuation.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right. It'd be interesting to
Come
see.
to
So
Liverpool, lad.
where does Declan Rice then fit in? Does he take? Because I've heard Granit Xhaka's been linked to use at Bayern Leverkusen.
Yeah, well, we're doing
about
the
15
ins,
million or
but
something like
we
that.
could do the outs. Yeah, I think Granit Xhaka is on his way out.
He could be on his way out, and I think he's had a redemption worthy of like he's a bit of like an Arsenal cult hero. He had
I think so.
ups and downs,
And I
but
think it's nice for him
overall-
to leave once we've got Champions League. Leave on a high.
Yeah, and I think he's been an important player. He's obviously he captained the club, didn't he, for a long period of time.
Yep.
So do you see Declan Rice moving into his 8 role, or do you see Declan Rice filling in? I don't know. It's going to be weird.
I think he can do both, which is why I think he is Arsenal's perfect signing this summer. He can do in the harder games where we need so say we could do Declan Rice and Partey together, and Declan Rice, one of the best progressive carriers in the league. I think he is the best progressive carrier from like the midfield positions when you're not talking about like wingers like Saka and Salah. He is like the best centre of the pitch progressive carrier. So to have him and Thomas Partey in your midfield in a game where we're playing City or we're playing Liverpool, where we need stability and then the ability to carry the ball out, beat presses, I think he can do both. But then say it's a game where we're going to be favourites, you could play Declan Rice in the deeper role and then maybe have Odegaard and Fabio Vieira, and Declan Rice can do all that work by himself, like you can see him do for England, like you see him do for West Ham. So I think the ability that he has to play both positions is something that I think will suit Arteta down to the ground. He loves players that are dynamic in their positions. And I think that's something that City are really good at. Players can cover a range of different positions. I think that's where we're moving to in football these days. It's like you'd rather a player
I think
that can
positions are like a rough template.
put like an 8 out of 10 in 3 positions rather than a player that can put 9 out of 10 in 1 position.
Well, and players are being asked individually to do more, so you have to cover a wider variety. You have to have a larger skill set. I mean, you look at like John Stones, centre back, playing right back. Playing CDM. Like, formations, you often have like out of a ball formation, in possession formation, and it changes throughout the game. Like, players have to be smarter than ever now.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, the game is so much quicker, so much more intense. So.
And I think that's why Declan Rice's quality, he's got that IQ that Arteta wants.
Well,
he's got that kind of like leadership mentality.
Look what a lack of positional variance within players has cost you this season.
100%.
Tomiyasu and your centre back got injured at the same time.
That's a
You're
pickle,
forced to play Rob Holding because you couldn't put Ben White back in centre back, and you basically fell off the face of the earth. Like, it was bad. If you had someone who could play DM, CDM, if you had someone who could play left back, centre back, like, and you're seeing even like Kanji's been playing left back.
Exactly that.
Like,
you need players,
Champions League,
and that's why I think Cancelo would be an interesting signing. Obviously,
play either side.
He can play either side, but he's got this attitude situation. But if he can iron that out, I'd welcome him. And then another player that I want to talk about. So apparently, our 2 top transfer rumours, priorities,
Targets
is the word, is Declan Rice and Moises Caicedo.
I feel like it's midfield overload.
I don't think it is.
And
Caicedo, we've seen him play right back, peppered Arsenal at right back. We've seen him play centre mid, probably one of the best centre mids in the league at the moment. To get him and Declan Rice will show the league that Arsenal mean business.
Would you be happy with just Caicedo and Declan Rice?
I'd take those 2 and an attacker over those 2 and Cancelo.
So, for me, your problems this season, where you struggled, what cost you the title, was your backline. I think.
But do you not think Declan Rice and Caicedo both?
No, I agree, and that was going to be my point. You're trying to like have so much of control in the midfield and have such a defensive, like, protective barrier. It's going to be like phenomenal. You're going to have such freedom up front and freedom behind. But Zinchenko, I think he's good.
But is he good?
But I think he has a lot of issues that he tries to make up for with just being loud and like passionate, which isn't bad. I don't think he's a terrible left back. But
His country is at war at the moment.
I don't think Kieran Tierney is that good.
Forgive my guy for being a little bit emotional.
No. But that's always been his style. Like, and he's a captain of his country. Like, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
Don't think he's a top like 5 left back in the league.
Did we not say he was? Like,
he was recent. I've watched him more, and his weaknesses have been.
We stink, you know.
No, but his weaknesses have been fully shone a spotlight upon.
Yeah.
Ben White, would you say next season he starts as right back for you every game?
Yeah.
So you're going to go
He's
Ramsdale,
a right back now.
You're going to go Ramsdale, Ben White, Gabriel Saliba, and Zinchenko.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have
Partey and Declan Rice.
Declan Rice, Caicedo on the bench.
Or maybe even Partey
So
on the bench.
where'd you get? You're going to spend like 180 million.
Partey on the bench.
You have Partey on the bench.
Yep.
Okay, so you got Partey on the bench.
Declan Rice and Caicedo.
Declan Rice and Caicedo. So Declan Rice is the Caicedo is the 8, or
Yep.
the other way around.
But either or, they can decide on the day.
And you've got Odegaard as that like progressive 8.
Sexy,
10
yes
role.
please.
Yep.
Yep.
And then forward line. What are we talking? We're talking Martinelli,
Saka,
and
Jesus, and then if we had the option,
because you got Trossard still.
We do have Trossard.
I don't know why I said that. Trossard.
But yeah, he's a nice little player. To be fair, him and Martinelli, they can battle it out. I
But
want
you've got
Saka.
Reece Nelson as well.
Yeah, I want to keep Reece Nelson because he should have been starting more towards the end of the season. My baby boy Bukayo, love you every single day of the week, but his form towards the end of the season took a bit of a, not even a bit of a dip, dipped hard.
He's been stinky.
Garlic and herb Domino's dip, that kind of dip. That dip's hard. That was the dip that Saka had at the end of the season.
A lot of dips.
But yeah, Reece should have been playing a bit more towards the end of the season. I hope he signs a new contract. But if he doesn't,
Mate, he's really good.
if he doesn't sign, we need to get someone to compete with Saka because he's quality.
He's getting away with it a bit, and I never thought
It's like Harry Kane because Saka is probably, in my opinion, the best right winger in the league. Harry Kane is probably the best striker in the league. It's like, how do you sign a player? And that player knowing that like you're barely going to get in the team because that player is going to be dropping 9 out of 10.
I don't think his attitude's a problem. Maybe
no, it's not.
Maybe it's like subconsciously he's not being pushed hard enough. Or
no,
whatever.
It's not Saka's problem. It's the player coming in. Will they like be happy with a bench role? Because Saka will start 95% of the games because he's that good. But is that player coming in happy to be
this
benched?
season? Like you didn't have like such an obvious option there, or a good enough option there, that Saka's been forced to play every minute of every game, and he's been overworked.
Yeah, no, I don't. I want someone to push him.
Leggy.
Yeah, I want someone to push him.
So yeah, I mean, ideally, let's say you got 200 million to spend. Yeah, you spend 100 million on Declan Rice.
Yeah,
that's a 30, right?
Yeah, boy.
So you're gonna spend like
I'd hardball him 90 million.
90 million on Declan Rice.
Bash.
And then you get Caicedo for like 70.
Yeah, nice little sweet 70.
So let's say you spent like round about 160 million. Okay?
Bash.
In an ideal world, you got 2 midfielders sorted. Got rid of Xhaka. You got rid of, I don't know, dead weight.
Yeah,
Holding,
so
maybe
Holding, I think Sheffield United and Leeds are looking at him. Let's say 10 mil for Holding, 15 mil for Xhaka.
Maybe like El Neni goes.
Who else have we got that we can ship off for dough?
Maybe Balogun comes back up.
Pablo Mari. And then, yeah, we got to deal with the Balogun situation. He's just signed for, not
USA.
signed, but yeah, he's pledged allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag. But, so, I've seen a lot of people say that for Arsenal, he is such an asset now, commercially, that
you don't want to get rid of him.
And especially because we're American-owned.
Because he's the LeBron James of soccer now.
We're American-owned, so the kind of marketing ability that he has is skyrocketing.
You could get like an actual good American player like Timothy Ware. He's good, man.
Nah, Balogun's better. But so does he stay? Does Eddie go, or do we let Balogun go for dough?
Landon Donovan out of retirement.
So it's a crazy one. I'd say we've got about 60 mil in outgoings that we could do.
So let's be reasonable. Who we getting in to challenge Saka?
I've seen links with Moussa Diaby from Leverkusen.
Yeah, you don't want to go too high. You don't want to bring. You're not going to go get like a
Cristiano Ronaldo.
I've seen ridiculous reports about Cristiano Ronaldo being like, he's going to sign for Arsenal in January.
It's fucking Piers Morgan just sucking him off.
He's such a weirdo, man. Oh, he's funny, Piers Morgan.
I swear down, if Ronaldo was like to Piers, can I shit in your mouth? Piers would say yeah. I swear down.
Piers wouldn't say nothing. He'd have his mouth open.
Yeah, I swear down. Weird Don.
So yeah, realistically, who are we looking at?
I'd say the likes of Moussa Diaby, maybe my boy Solly March. No, I'm joking. We wouldn't go for Solly March, but
Brian's B team.
Oi. Yeah, no, I think Moussa Diaby.
Signing Danny Welbeck again.
Yeah, facts. He put in a good shift against us. But maybe Michael Elise. Those kind of man them.
It's weird because the right winger role seems to have like such less, not like talent pool, but maybe like top tier players than maybe the left side of the pitch.
Yeah, it's like Saka and Salah, and then a bit of a tier down.
Yeah, you got like Rodrigo at Madrid. He's alright. Yeah,
Rodrigo's good.
Fede Valverde, mate.
Yeah,
get him out of the centre,
mate. The fact that they got Jude and then they already got Valverde,
mate, they got Camavinga playing left back.
Camavinga.
He's been at Liverpool, hasn't he?
Well, it's many good players.
Liverpool, I think.
It's actually a bit rude. What is happening with Real Madrid? So they're playing tonight. Obviously, this will come out after the match. We're doing a live stream. Go back and watch it if
there are going to be goals and there's going to be reactions.
Is Ancelotti going to leave at the end of the season? Because like they're signing. So I saw those chats like Jude Bellingham had a chat with Ancelotti. Love the sound of the Real Madrid project. But if Ancelotti's not there, what is the project? How do they know what the project is?
Well, I saw like an interview with Trippier where he was like he was going to go to Napoli when Ancelotti was manager.
Yeah,
and then he was about to sign and Ancelotti left.
Yeah,
and then he went to
like, I don't want to go.
Atletico Madrid, which is strange. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
He's got that clout, man.
Ancelotti is a boy.
He's the Don.
Even he couldn't make it work at Everton. So, Deitch better than Ancelotti.
Yeah, sure. So Arsenal, I think we mean business. If we go about our business smart, but the project's sped up so much that I think Arsenal fans are going to be in for an interesting summer of bigger players than maybe we thought we were.
Question time.
Hit me.
Do Arsenal finish with more points or less points than next season? Than this season?
What are we on? I think we're on like 80.
It's obviously this is like it's going to be incredibly difficult.
More.
Back the boys.
Yeah. Every time.
Will Liverpool finish on more or less points than they have this season?
More.
Chelsea?
More.
Man United?
Less.
Okay. Tottenham?
Less.
Depends who they get in. Tottenham less?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Newcastle?
Less.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting because my opinion is that Arsenal need to... It's very well and good, and I think you'll have to have the mindset of pushing forward. But we must be mindful of the fact that Liverpool have had a stinker of a season and look to be back on sort of gaining their form. I think once they sign a few players, get that midfield sorted out, I think they're going to be right at the top.
I think they're on like 7 wins in a row at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're going to be...
This new system they're cooking.
Trent playing that sort of like CDM right back hybrid role.
Yeah, he's moving mad.
Luis Diaz is back. He's obviously a massive part for them. I mean, they've got Curtis Jones scoring.
Curtis Jones is cooking at the moment.
So yeah, interesting times. But maybe Arsenal, do they need to be looking forward or backwards? Always look forward.
Yeah, you got to believe.
Got to believe. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just focus on yourself.
Come on.
Focus on us in a minute when we're back with our predictions.
Bash.
Wow, we are back with predictions.
Predictions is coming to the end. And do you remember at the start of the season we said the loser of the prediction league gets a BoreDraw tattoo?
Oh.
It's looking long for Luke.
Could be sticky.
No, I'm joking. Maybe you'll go on an absolute mazzoline.
I'm gonna need 2 weeks of green.
Some greens, baby. London Derby to start. Green. Hit me with your green. Spurs.
The news of Ivan Toney is gonna devastate Brentford.
I think it will.
Harry Kane is gonna be like, haha, you came from my English spot, not today. And then he's gonna drop 3 against Brentford. I'm gonna predict 2-0.
He's gonna drop 3.
3-1 Spurs.
I think it's gonna be a 1-2 draw.
Who's the third party?
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to go 1-1 and then I bottled it and went 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Bournemouth versus Man United. Wow, what an interesting game. I think Man United a bit too much for Bournemouth. I don't know how good Bournemouth really are.
Yeah, they lost last game, didn't
they? And they've secured their status in the league.
2-0 against Palace, yeah.
So for me, Man United, maybe Liverpool chasing them a little bit, sniffing at their heels.
Yeah, that's true. Man United can't afford to be slack.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 Manchester United, a nervy game.
I'm going to go for a 2-0 Manchester United.
Another London derby. We've got Fulham versus Palace. Palace cooking it. Eze, mate. Get him in that England team because he is filthy. That goal against...
I've had him on my bench 3 weeks in a row on fantasy and he's dropped like 1 million points.
I've been seeing his praises
fuming
since the day he came to QPR.
Yeah, Luke's fancied him for a couple of years now.
I remember I watched his first game. It was a League Cup game against, I think it was Bristol Rovers. And you could just tell he was different. But yeah, I bet as a cooking. Let's keep it going, man. I'm going to go 3-2 Crystal Palace.
It's a good result for Palace. I mean, both these teams have got absolutely nothing to play for. But apart from vibes. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Liverpool are charging 7 wins on the bounce, Roz just said. And they look...
Could be 8.
They look...
I don't know.
Look very, very, very good.
They do.
And... I think they want Champions League.
They need Champions League.
I think they want it. I think they want it bad. I mean, how are you going to try sign Bellingham and not have Champions League?
If they get Europa League, they'll win the Europa League.
Yeah,
mate, their squad is so good, minus that midfield, which is a bit weird.
The midfield.
But if they redo that midfield in the summer, they'll go into the Europa League and just clear house. It'll be rude.
Can you imagine they got Caicedo and McAllister and Fabinho? Or Mount.
I think get rid of Fabinho. Fabinho stinks, mate.
But yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool for me.
Wolves versus Everton. So
relegation scrappage.
If Everton win this and Forest win their game, I believe Leeds are relegated to the Sky Bet Championship.
Which is emotional because Leeds, it was a long wait for them to get back into the Prem. And
they stunk it up
pretty much straight back down. They appointed
an American who signed Americans.
America.
And who's the Donny that the midfielder they signed for big money like in January or was it January?
Weston McKennie.
Nah.
Apparently he's linked with Brighton now.
It might have been in the summer and he just hasn't played for like ages.
I don't know.
Can't remember. I'll figure it out before the end of the episode. But yeah, for me, Wolves versus Everton. Everton might do this. I'm gonna go 2-1 Everton. Yeah,
I agree. I think Calvert-Lewin back in is huge. They looked okay against City. I think they had a higher XG when they played City. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
I need to figure it out. Is
it a winger?
Yes. Is it Sinistero who's not played?
Yeah, Sinistero.
He's not played for ages.
Arsenal away at Nottingham Forest. Like Luke said, they're probably like a point away from confirming their safety. They had a good
and Ruta as well.
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Jorginho
Ruta,
yeah. Mad.
Yeah, they've had a couple of good results. Draw last week against Chelsea was naughty. So
I think they
don't really.
Me,
I think they're probably fine.
Out of all the teams in the bottom 5, they have the most fight about them.
Yeah, and they probably play the best football.
Apart from Everton when they smashed Brighton. But that was like we said, a freak result, I think. I think they had a game plan and it worked phenomenally, but I don't think we're going to do it every week. However, I do think they'll be hard to beat.
I think we're going to play a heavily rotated team.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Arteta's going to just...
You're going to have like Kvior and...
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one. But I still reckon it'll be...
Fabio Vieira in the middle.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of, yeah.
Oh, Nenny.
Nah, he's not fit at the moment. But it'll be like Eddie up top.
He's pretty fit.
He is. I reckon we do them. I think Trossard starts. Trossard scores. 2-1 Arsenal.
I'm going to go for a 3-1 Arsenal.
Very nice.
I think you're going to go be like a 1-0. Arsenal go ahead. Forest throw their players. Try to get a couple points. Get that 1 point maybe. Get a draw. And then Hit him on the counter. West Ham versus Leeds. Big game at the bottom. West Ham done pretty well recently. Done pretty well. They've got a big game tomorrow night against AZ Alkmaar.
Yeah, what, they 2-1 up? Yeah.
2-1 up. A good performance from their last leg. It's come back from the 1-0 down. For me, I think West Ham have underperformed all season. I think they're starting to find their flow right at the end, which is kind of important for them.
Yeah.
Lucas Paquetá actually turned up a little bit
Yeah.
after you called him out. It put me your flop 11.
Facts.
But yeah, interesting times. I think West Ham have a bit too much for Leeds. Leeds are playing that like very low percentage football. They're trying to play very on the counter.
Sam Allardyce was... you deserved to get relegated for a point.
Sam Allardyce, he's going to have 2 L's.
That was never going to work. Like, you appoint Sam Allardyce if you're confident that you've got a defence that'll work. Leeds have got a shocking
They've gone
defence.
from like Jesse Marsh, young, exciting manager, come through like the Red Bull system. They've gone through like a medium ground in Javi Garcia, and then they've gone to the complete other end of the spectrum with Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
It's mental. They've gone through the full range of emotions. But for me, West Ham do them. I'm going to go for a 2-0 West Ham.
I think Leeds turn up. I think West Ham, they'll put a lot into this
That's true.
Conference League game.
1-0. I'm changing my prediction 1-0.
Boo! No, yeah, I do reckon it'll be a draw. But I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2
Sure.
that.
I don't care.
It's the realist.
Brighton, Southampton. Brighton slap them. Southampton already
4-0.
relegated. Yeah, 4-0. I'm going to go 3-0. Man City, Chelsea. That's an interesting game. Is it? I don't know. Chelsea shite.
1-1.
And it gives Arsenal the belief that... no, I think the permutations are that if Man City get a draw, they win the league.
I thought they had to beat Chelsea.
No, I'm pretty sure a point wins them the league.
Let's have a look.
They just can't lose. But I could be wrong. But I reckon City do them in their sleep, mate.
I think, well, if Man City draw, they're on 86 points, which is 5 points ahead of you. And there's 2 games left.
We've got a crazy worse goal difference.
But, yeah, but if they draw, they're on 86 points. You win your next 2 games, you're on 87. So, if they draw, they're 1 point off win the league.
Feisty one.
But I'm going 1-0.
Interesting. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Man City.
Monday, Newcastle-Leicester. Newcastle are going to tear Leicester apart. Leicester.
Newcastle off the back of a couple of stinkers, though. Loss against Arsenal.
Draw against Leeds.
And then draw against Leeds.
But for me, Leicester they look like they're down.
Yeah, down and out.
They just don't care. I can't see any.
Don't care.
Maybe Harvey Barnes and Vardy are the only players that put in a shift. I think without Fayez, she's maybe putting in a little bit of a shift. Johnny Evans come back from injury like a bit too late.
Yeah.
Just it's been bad. And for me, Newcastle slap them. I'm going to go for a 3-1.
I'm going to go for a 3-1.
Wednesday. What? That's a game and a half. Brighton versus Man City. Man City, if they draw against Chelsea, they'll need this to win the league. Basically, they win one of their next 3 games, they win the league. For me,
not looking good, bruv.
Not looking good for you at all. I think it's going to be difficult for them, though. But I think they're going to have too much for Brighton. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Man City. Man City win the league.
Yeah, Man City, they've got a lot of fixtures in the next 2 weeks. A lot of important fixtures, obviously, to go and like get into Champions League final, to get the league over the line. But they've got mental rigidity. Rigidity. So I reckon it'll be a good game, but they beat Brighton 2-1.
Rounding off is this penultimate game week?
Yep.
Rounding off the penultimate game week, we have what used to be a really good game. Man United Chelsea.
Yeah, boy, Man United do them 1-0.
After a 1-1 performance from Chelsea at Man City. I'm saying it like it's fact.
It is fact.
Man United will go on to beat Chelsea and all but end Liverpool's hopes of the top 4 finish.
It's emotional for them, man.
By winning 2-0.
Interesting.
And that rounds up
The penultimate game week.
the penultimate game
We're
week.
almost at the end, baby. It's almost episode 50. We've
Then
lined
we'll
up
be at the ultimate game week.
very special episode.
Very, very special episode. We're both
gassed.
buzzing for it.
We're
Get
gassed.
ready because episode 50 is going to hit different. But yeah, next week we will be looking at the relegation battle as the title race is pretty much wrapped up. It'll be top 4 relegation battle. The only things really left to worry about. And but yeah, tonight we got Man City versus Real Madrid. So
Big game.
the live stream will have happened. So make sure you go back and watch that for our reactions and everything. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 200 subs.
Get us to 200, mate. That'd be sick.
Get us to 200. We'd be very, very grateful. But remember, just please hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to us. Remember to like the video, comment down below, let us know what you thought of it. Any final words?
Yeah.
It's been BoreDraw, episode number 46, and it's live.
Bash.